Okay, here we go. We're going now to the record. Here we go. All right, let's get back to our share.
Video container.
You do see the share? You see it?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, you have the psukim there, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Let me get to it. 1 second. I'm a bit. My share has been blocked out for a second, but I will get right back to it. We're going right back to the share now. Here we go. All right, here we are. All right. So, if you'll take a look, please. I just want to get this small down a little bit so we can get an equal view on the share. Okay, here we are. So this is the beginning of the session. Now, as I mentioned, that right before the discussion begins tonight, I think it's important to note the following. Parshas Sisa has in it one of the most ignoble events in the history of the Jewish people. And of course, everyone knows that the event I'm speaking about is the worship of the Egel HaZahav, the golden calf. This week's Parsha discusses the events leading up to the event itself and the aftermath. Time constraints do not allow us to go through all of it, but I want to mention something that's on the perimeter and that we don't necessarily realize. In the shul, this Shabbos, when we read Parshas Sisa, if you'll take a look at the end of the Parsha, you'll see that every Chumash in the end of the Parsha lists the number of psukim.
Yeah.
In Parshas Sisa, there are 139 psukim. All right? There are 7 aliyahs in any given sedra. Every sedra has 7 aliyahs. The rare time where there's only 6, that will come up Yetz Hashem on Chodesh Nisan, when there are going to be 3 Sifrei Torah taken out, and only 6 aliyahs will be in the Parsha. The 7th will be on Rosh Chodesh, and the 8th will be Parshas HaChodesh of Rosh Chodesh Nisan. But that's rare. Every other Shabbos of the year is 7 aliyahs. If you have 140 psukim and you're going to have 7 aliyahs, it averages out an average of 20 psukim. It's 139 psukim. All right, we'll grant 140, and that will give us 20 psukim per aliyah. And usually, if you take a look at the aliyahs in the Sefer Torah, there really are an even balance, approximate even balance. It's never exact, but it's pretty well spaced out. It's never elongated to the point where you say to yourself, wait a minute, what's going on over here? So you would expect that in 139 psukim, the first 2 aliyahs, 20 psukim each, would be a total of 40 psukim. An amazing thing takes place. The first 2 aliyahs have 91, and all the other aliyahs left to the Sedra are a total of 48 psukim. 48 psukim for the next 5 aliyahs. That's less than 10 psukim in aliyah. Less than 10. Some of them small, 4, 5. This is so unusual, but there's a reason for it. We're going to see later on in the Sedra, when it comes to the worship of the golden calf, that when Hashem asked Moshe to gather together all the righteous remnants of the Jewish people that did not have one member in a tribe that had anything to do with the worship of the golden calf, only the tribe of Levi came forward. By Yesu Alav Shevet Levi, all the tribe of Levi came to him. All the other tribes had someone, maybe only 1 or 2, but every other tribe had members who were worshiping the golden calf. The only tribe that had no one, zero, Kol Shevet Levi, was only Shevet Levi. Now, from the Levium, from the Levites, come two groups, the Kohanim and the Levium. Those are the ones that come from Shevet Levi. The first two aliyos, every Shabbos. The first aliyah is Kohen. The second aliyah is Levi. The golden calf experience is read in the portion of Levi, the only tribe that did not worship the golden calf. Why is that done? Our Chazal, our rabbis of blessed memory, have explained to us there's a reason for this. Because when someone gets an aliyah to the Torah and they're reading something in the Torah, the person could think to themselves, this is my portion. This is my aliyah. I'm reading this because I have a relationship with this aliyah. Now, every other aliyah in the Torah, we have a relationship with it. Even if it speaks about some terrible things in terms of thou shalt not this, thou shalt not that, or you should do this mitzvah, you should do that mitzvah. But every one of us has a connection with some way with the mitzvah. But what about when we read about the golden calf? Can you imagine, let's say, someone from the tribe of, I don't know, Yisachar was given the aliyah of the golden calf. Everybody would look at the gentleman who came from the tribe of Yisachar and say, hey, you know why he got the aliyah for the golden calf? His ancestors must have been involved. Or if Zvulun got it, or if any other person from the Jewish people got it. But when Shevet Levi gets that aliyah, no one can say that. In order to have kavod for all the Jewish people, in order to show the honor we give to every Jew, it would be so illogical to go and say for sure that this person had an ancestor involved with the golden calf. But look how sensitive Chazal were. Look how sensitive the rabbis were in portioning the aliyahs. Don't even let anyone think it. Don't even make a joke about it. Oh, he's getting the aliyah with the golden calf, you know? So in order that every Jew feel good about themselves and honor the reading of the Torah, only Shevet Levi gets that aliyah. And that's why this week's Sedge is broken up in such an illogical manner, but it's not illogical at all. It is very much on the mark. It's exactly to teach us the ultimate value of the concern and respect that each and every one of us has to have for every other Jew. That's the introduction to this week's Sedge. And we're going to take a look now at the first two psukim. Let's look at the second pasuk right away, right over here. Okay. We're up to where it says Ki Sisa. It's the second pasuk. The pointer over here. Here we go. Okay, here it is. Okay. Ki, look at the little hand over there on the page. You all see it? The pasuk says, right, Hashem spoke to Moshe saying, Ki Tisa, as Rosh B'nai Yisrael of Kudehem, when you lift up the heads of the Jewish people according to their count, this is the count that's being taken place. But you don't want to count people. We know as a Jew, you're not allowed to count anybody. La halacha. The only way you count the Jews is by saying a pasuk. All right, we use the pasuk, which counts 10 people, right? And when we count the pasuk, we could say Hoshia Samecha, that gives us 10 people. Some people say Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech Haolam Hamotzi Lechem Min Haaretz. Okay, some people count by saying that instead of pointing at heads, we say a pasuk that has 10 words, and we count people. We don't count people otherwise. But here, by the census taking of the Jewish people in Parshas Ki Sisa, it tells us when you count them, Ki Tisa. Now, the word, we'll get to the word Ki Tisa in a minute, but it's literally, it means when you lift up the heads of the Jewish people according to their count, V'nosnu ish kofer nafsho, each person should give the atonement money of his soul, La Hashem, to God, Bifkodo some, when you count them. Therefore, and there won't be any plague in the counting, because there's something about being counted that causes jealousy. We have another rule the Gemara brings up that Ein habracha mitzuya el b'davar hasamui min ha'ayin. Blessing is only found in that which is hidden from the eye. You know, when you have a specific salary, let's say, if you're getting paid X amount of dollars, you're not going to get any more. That's what you get. But if you have some investment, something, or you have a little business could become a very big business because it's samui min ha'ayin. That's not the main idea that I'm trying to bring out. The main thing is that when you count the Jewish people, you have to count them by giving kofer nafshe, the atonement of the soul. We'll come back to that in a minute. Let's go to the next pasuk just for a moment. It says, Zeh yitnu, this is what you give. Call over.
אם אני מקשיב לשיעור, אוקיי?
If you're going to talk, please mute your.
I'm sorry.
Mute your phone. Zeh yitnu, call over el apekudim. Whoever is going to be entered into the count, literally pass through the count, yep, right? Has to give machzis a shekel b'shekel hakodesh. You have to give a half of a shekel, and it tells you it's as from geira a shekel. The shekel is worth 20 geira. Machzis a shekel truma Hashem. It's given as a truma to Hashem. Okay, let's go back to the beginning. We're counting the Jewish people. What's the word that's used for counting the Jewish people? Ki tisa. When you lift up, literally, the word tisa comes from the word sa, which means lift up. Ki tisa, when you lift up the heads of the Jewish people in the count, this is how you do it. In his own beautiful and inimitable, positive fashion. Rav Moshe Feinstein Zatzal, my Rosh Yeshiva, Zechariah Levracha, emphasizes, why does the Torah say when you lift up the heads of the Jewish people? Why didn't it say when you are pokad, kisif kod, esrosh b'nei Yisrael, when you count the Jewish people? It doesn't say when you count. It says when you lift up the heads of the Jewish people. There are two reasons for this. Number one, we're talking about giving money to tzedakah. As it says, v'nosnu ish kofer nafsho. Each person should give some value of his own self. Giving away part of our possession, our meiser money, which, by the way, we learned today in the Daf Yomi that meiser money is a nice minhag, but it's not absolutely required if you can't afford it. We're not going to go into that. The real meiser that's talked about in the Torah is the meiser of the produce of the ground. Meiser ksafim is a very important custom among the Jewish people, and it's proper to give. We have a halacha about giving out 10%, but the truth is if one can't afford it, they're not absolutely required. But there are very, very many intricate halachas about this, very, very many laws, and one should not take it upon themselves to decide who can and who can't. You ask a shaila about whether or not this is included in the charitable contributions. But nevertheless, it says, when you give tzedakah, Rav Moshe says, first, you have to know that you should give it in a way that lifts you up. Give your machzis hashekel, give your half donation, so to speak, in a way that's going to lift you up. Make it kitisa esrosh b'nei Yisrael. Give to a poor person, a needy individual, a needy family, a needy organization. Give it in a way that makes you feel good about yourself so that it lifts up your head. That's one. But even more importantly, perhaps, Reb Moshe says, one thing you have to know. If you wish to bring the Jewish people to a higher level, see to it that you lift them up. You want the Jews to do a mitzvah? Lift them up. Tell them how precious they are, how valuable, what a great thing you're doing. Do you know what it means for a Jew to do a mitzvah? It lifts up the Jewish soul. So Reb Moshe says, when we count the Jewish people, we're telling you, you're to be lifted up. Because how much does each individual count? How much does each individual Jew add to the Jewish people? How much do I, you, we, each individual, if we have 3 million Jews, 13 million, 20 million, whatever it is. Each of us only counts as one. Now let's think about that. When the Jews were being counted here in the wilderness, when they left Egypt, and there's a first census account amongst them, let's ask the question. Moshe Rabbeinu, how much did he count? One. And how much did the poor little shepherd or woodcutter or candle maker or boy sitting in the yeshiva or man helping another human being or a doctor or a lawyer or a judge or a rebbe, how much did each of those count? One. There was once a bar mitzvah boy who was a little timid, and his rebbe wanted so much to build him up and give him a sense of being important. So he came to his bar mitzvah, and the father of the boy asked the rebbe to speak. So he pulled the boy up to the front by the speaker's lectern, and he said to him, Chaimul, call him Chaimul, I want to tell you something. Yesterday, when you were not bar mitzvah, you couldn't be counted in a million. But today, if there was a million that had Moshe Rabbeinu, Aaron HaKohen, Yehoshua, David HaMelech, Shlomo HaMelech, Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, Yosef, and there were 9 of them, they didn't have a million. But if you walk in, you 13-year-old boy walk in, there's a million. You're equal to Moshe Rabbeinu. You're equal to Yoshua, to David. You're equal to Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, and Leah. You're equal to Queen Esther. You're equal to every other Jew. And that's crucial, said Rav Moshe. You have to keep Sisa Esros B'nai Yisrael. You have to lift up the heads of the Jewish people. You have to ennoble them. Tell them what a gift it is to have the Torah and all of its observances. It lifts our soul. It makes us valuable and meaningful. It lifts us up. Ki Tisa Esros B'nai Yisrael Livku Dehem. I want us to focus on one word over here, please, as we go further now. You see my little hand right here on this word, V'nosnu?
Yeah.
Do you see that? V'nosnu, and they shall
Yeah.
give? Okay, I want to tell you, that word is a palindrome.
Right.
You know what a palindrome is? A palindrome is you can read the word backwards and forwards.
Okay.
Okay? You read this word, it's Vav, Nun, Tuf, Nun, Vav. You can read it V'nosnu this way, or you can read it V'nosnu this way. It's important for us to know that when we give tzedakah, it's a palindrome. We think we're giving away. Oh no, we're getting it back. We're getting much more because we're observing the commandment of sharing, and that is what makes us who we are. There's a famous story about Moses Montefiore, one of the greatest, richest men in Jewish history, who in England was known as a financier par excellence. And the Queen and Moses Montefiore, which, by the way, in Yerushalayim HaKodesh, you know, the Kiryat Moshe is named after him, and also the windmill that's there in right by outside the walls of the old city, which was built in order to give a parnasa to the Jews of the Yishuv early in the 20th century. It was even before the 20th century, 18th century. So when that happened, the queen one day, she called in Moses Montefiore. She was kidding around with him, and she said, Moses, tell me, how much are you worth? Now, Moses Montefiore was worth billions of dollars. So he said, sire, madame, can I have some time to look through my account so I can give you a good estimate of what I'm worth? Because he didn't want to lie. He came back a few days later, as was the agreement, and he tells her, I'm worth, and he gives her a number, I don't know, 200 million. That's what he said, 200 million. The queen looked at him and said, Moses, you're kidding. Everyone knows you have billions. why are you telling me you have 200 million? He said, Madame, I'll explain. The other money is not mine because that's here today and gone tomorrow. The 200 million, that's the money I gave away to tzedakah. That's the money I gave away to charity. That's mine. You want to know what I'm worth? I'm worth what I gave to tzedakah. That's the proper answer. And so the word v'nosnu is both ways. You give it, but really you're getting back. Okay, we're going to go much further now. I'd like to go on. There's much more to talk about, by the way, about the machzis. I have a lot more to talk about on that, but we really hung up, and there's a lot more to talk about. It's very, very important. If we have time at the end, we might speak a little bit more about the machzis. Okay, let's go up in the Torah reading, in which when we finish reading about the matzos hashekel, the next chapter all of a sudden comes along right over here. And look at this, right next to the giving charity and counting the Jewish people, the next thing, right before the building of the Mishkan and the Shabbos, comes an important little paragraph of a few words. And Hashem spoke to Moshe saying, you should make a basin of copper and a base to the basin also of copper, and you put it between the Ohel Moed and the Mizbeach, and you put water in it. There was a laver, a way to wash your hands. You go into any shul, before you get to the sanctuary of the shul, before you get to the Makom Kodesh, there's always a wash basin. Always. In fact, every single morning, the very first thing we do when we arise, we immediately wash our hands with Tilas Yadayim, as close as we possibly can to the point where we get out of bed. We say, Modani, thank you, Hashem, for giving me back my neshama. And now I go wash the Tilas Yadayim. And we say a bracha. We say Asher Kiddushanim Mitzvot Tivanu Ala Tilas Yadayim on the washing of the hands. But that's every Jew. Where does that come from? This is talking about, take a look. Next pasuk. What does it say? V'rachatzu Aronu Vanav Mimenu. Aaron and his sons should wash from it as Yedeim V'Esragleim. They have to wash their hands and feet. When? Next pasuk. Here we are, right in pasuk Chaf Aleph 20 and 20. Bevoam Elohel Moed. When they come to the tent of the meeting, Yerchatzu Mayim, they should wash with water. Below Yamusu. Whenever they come to do anything, to bring incense, you have to first wash your hands. You want to do avoda, you want to do something in the base of English, you must wash your hands. We know, we don't even go to davening without washing our hands. You know, everybody knows when they went to the kotel, you know, right outside the kotel, right outside, there's a wash basin on the men's side and on the women's side for washing of the hands before you approach the kotel, because you're going to be going to daven over there. And before you daven, you wash your hands. And the second you arise in the morning, you wash your hands. You arise in the morning, you wash your hands. Before davening, you wash your hands. Then when you come home, you wash your hands before eating again. Amazing. In the morning, for davening, for eating, always washing your hands. Why do we do that? So there are a lot of reasons why that are given in the Shulchan Aruch, but I want to read you one sentence, and I'm going to show it to you if we can get that share right here. Let's see if it comes up if I click on this. Do you see? Nope, that's the wrong one. Let me go back. No, that was definitely the wrong one. Hold on. Let's get back to where we were. Excuse me. That does happen sometimes. Lately, more times than I'd like it to happen. Okay, I'm going to read you something that's not here. I'm going to try to get it 1 second. Let me see if I can get it 1 second. All right, I'm going to stop this share and come back with another one. See if I can get it now. So give me 1 moment. I'm going to stop this share. Okay, let's see if we can try again. All right, we're going to go now to a new share and see if it doesn't pop up this time. Okay. It should be over here. Let's see if that's it. So. Nope, it's not. That wasn't it. We'll try one more time, and then because otherwise it doesn't pay. Okay, I'm going to try one more time. Do a new share and see if it can't come up. Well, it should be here. It should be there or behind that one. Let's see. It's probably here, but behind this one. I'll get it in a second. Yeah, it's behind this one. All right. No, I'm sorry. Okay, I thought it was here, but it's not. Oh, wait a minute. Here it is. It's down here.
Yeah. Yep.
Do you see this?
Yep.
With a blue line across?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, great. I was right there the whole time. I didn't see it. Look, this blue line that I highlighted is actually a line from the Mishnah Berurah that the Chofetz Chaim wrote about the daily life of the Jew. And he's talking here about Netilas Yadayim, and he's explaining why we wash Netilas Yadayim. Let's look at that blue line over there, right? And he says, Velito Yadav min hakli. In the morning, you have to wash your hands from the kli, right? Kekohen shemekadesh yadav min akir kodam avoda. Unbelievable. The Mishnah Berurah says it right out. Why do we wash our hands with Netilas Yadayim? We're emulating the Kohen. Just like the Kohen washed, so do we. We are making a statement. Remember, we discussed only 2 weeks ago in Truma that last week in Tetzaveh, that the Kohen is to the Yisrael what the Yisrael is to the world at large. It's an analogy. Kohen is to the Jew what the Jew is to the world. The Kohen sets a standard. He washes before doing avoda. We too, we get up in the morning. We're going to do our avoda. What's our avoda? I don't know. We're going to go learn. We're going to daven. And then we're going to go to work. We're going to go to do our avoda. Are you a lawyer? Are you a doctor? Are you a technician? Are you a computer analyst? Are you a rabbi? No, only one rabbi. I don't need the competition. Stay out of it. Okay. Whatever you're doing, before you do anything, wash your hands. Now, by the way, what's the bracha for washing the hands? Asher tishanu b'mitzvos v'tzivanu al netilas yadayim. I'm going to throw it out to the participants. Tell me, what does netilas yadayim mean? What does the word netilat yadayim mean?
Dipping.
What?
Dip.
Dipping. Okay, that's one guess. Anybody else? What's the root of that word? Okay.
No.
Anybody else?
Use, not to use.
Use. That's a little different. Okay. Anybody else?
The laving of the hands.
Laving, which is similar to washing. Okay. The truth of the matter is,
Netilas, I think Netilas is taken away from Netilah, Noitel, taken away
right.
the
David Aronowitz, send him a pizza. He won the prize. Yeah. Netila natal means to take. The word netila means to take. You sanctified us with your commandments and commanded us to take our hands. Take them, use them, raise them up. They're yours. Take them and sanctify what you do all day long. You're golden hand. Your beautiful hands are going to do things all day long. You're going to manufacture. You're going to bring. You're going to lift. You're going to help. You're going to write. You're going to heal. You're going to do something that's going to raise you up. Take your hands and raise them up, just like the Kohen before he did anything in the base of English, which raised up not only himself but the Jewish people. You are going to raise yourself up, and all you do all day long. That's what the Mishnah Berurah, the Chofetz Chaim, is saying over here about this very important section of Netilas Yadayim. Well, we're going to go back now to our original share. Just in a moment, we're going to go back and get what we had before. And here we go. back to the psukim. All right. So now what we want to do is we're really pressing for time, and I want to finish very importantly a little bit about the Egel. All right. So let's go ahead to really I have something before that, but I want to go to the Egel first because I'm afraid I'll leave that out, and that's so crucial. There is a big misconception. I want to go to Perik Lamed Beis Pasuk Chaf Ches. Now here is Lamed, but we're going to go much ahead. Where would we go? We want Lamed Beis. Okay, here's Lamed Aleph. We're going to go up to Lamed Beis, and we're going to go to Pasuk Chaf Ches. And we're almost there. Here we go. Pasuk Chaf Ches. It's right here. Pasuk Chaf Ches. Okay. Here it is. Now, the golden calf was worshipped. I'm going to close it down a little bit. The golden calf was worshipped by the Jewish people. Hashem is exceedingly disappointed and upset. He tells Moshe, I'm going to destroy all the Jewish people. He uses a terminology. He says, Atah, and now, Hanichali. Leave me alone. It's not here. It's before this. I don't want to spend time on that too much. He says, now leave me alone. Because Moshe was begging for the lives of the Jewish people. And he says to Moshe, Anichali, leave me alone. And Moshe says, and he starts davening. He says, Hashem, Kel Racham V'Chanun, Erech HaPayim V'Dachas V'Yemes, and so on and so forth. Okay? Hashem says, all right, I'm not going to destroy the Jewish people. I'm not going to destroy them. But all those who sinned with the golden calf, they cannot continue to be part of the Jewish people. Because when you worship something else, it's Avodah Zarah. And Avodah Zarah has no place in the world at large. Idol worship. Worship of something other than God has no place on earth because it's going to destroy the world. Because you can't possibly have any moral compass. There's no empiricism to any moral truths without a God that shapes them. And our Hashem shaped us and gave us the Torah with its immutable sense of right and wrong. And so if there's going to be Avodah Zarah, there can't be a world. Okay, so the Jewish people made a big mistake and they worshiped the golden calf. Now it's a black mark on our history. We're not ashamed to say it because we can do tshuva. We can get better. We're ashamed to admit that sometimes we fall prey to the idol of the golden calf, whether it's money or some other physical attribute that we worship. But one thing is for sure, we have to be aware that our souls are connected with the eternal God, and that is the only worship we should have. So let me ask you, when you hear about the golden calf, and if you know the answer, please don't, Mordechai, you're not allowed to answer this.
Okay.
Okay? And anybody else who might not know, you think you know, but guesstimate, I'm asking a very important question. What percentage of the Jewish people, when they left Egypt and gathered in the wilderness, and there were 600,000 men between the age of 21 and 60, and there were women and children, total of about 3 million people. Okay, what percentage of the Jewish people worship the golden calf? Now, before you answer, I want you to know that I've done this experiment a number of times, and it's enlightening. And I don't want anyone who knows this answer from a previous shiur that I might have given, please do not answer. But anyone who didn't hear the shiur, I'd like to hear your guesstimates. What percentage of the Jewish people worship the golden calf? Speak up. Guess. Even if you make a mistake, don't worry. I did the same thing at some point in my life. What percentage do you think worship the golden calf? Nobody?
30-70 split.
15%.
30-70. Which one was the 70? 70 worship or 70 didn't worship?
Worship.
The 70
70
worship. Okay. Any other guesses?
15%.
What?
5%.
5%. That's the
Mm.
big difference between 70, 30,
75.
5. Okay, any other guesses?
Less than
Zero.
1%.
What?
Half of a
Less-
percent of the men.
I didn't hear that last one.
Oh, half of a percent of the men. So that's
Half of a percent of the men. No
Yeah.
women, huh?
right.
Right. Okay. Half of a percent. Okay. Anybody else? Well, we went from 70% to 5% to half a percent. Anybody else? Okay. It's not necessary anymore. We discussed it. There are various estimates. Of course, when I've given this question out to the public, I get estimates anywhere from 90% worship to 10% to 1% to half of a percent. I'd like you to take a look at this pasuk, which I'm about to show you right over here. And what happened is the B'nai Levi killed out all the people that worship the golden calf. Watch this. Vayasu B'nai Levi kidvar Moshe. The B'nai Levi did what Moshe told them to do, to kill everyone who worshiped the golden calf. Vayipol min ha'am bayom hahu, and on that day, from the nation there fell kishloshes alfei ish, about 3,000 men. About 3,000 men.
Mhm.
Wait a minute. There were 3 million people. What's 3,000 out of 3 million? 1/10 of 1%. 1/10 of 1% worship the golden calf. So let me ask you, why is that such a black mark? Is there 1/10 of 1% today of the Jewish people that don't keep Shabbos? Wow. You realize if only 1/10 of 1% of the Jewish people did not keep Shabbos, we would have Mashiach banging down the doors. we would hear the shofar gadol. There wouldn't be enough LL planes to get us out of here. It's unbelievable. Can you imagine? And here was only 1/10 of 1%, and yet it's called a black mark against the Jewish people. Why? Why? All right, so a number of answers. Number one, even one Jew dead is too many. When Israel goes to war and there's a casualty, one casualty is too many, as the Gemara in Sanhedrin and Lamed Zayin says, and we learned it. If you kill one Jew, like you kill the whole world. And it's true. Of course it's true. Because we have numerous examples of that. Adam and Chava were only one male and one female. And look at this world that we have from them. I'll give you another example. I know someone who was the oldest of 13 children. This person had a mother who was a single child. Her parents survived the Holocaust. She was the only child they were capable of having. She gave birth to 13 children. Those 13 children have many, many children. There are hundreds of them already. You know what Hitler Yamach Shemo V'Zichro killed? You know what he destroyed? Worlds. Worlds. And we are the remnant that keeps alive their memory. And therefore, when 3,000, only 3,000 died, it's a black mark on the Jewish people. Even if one died because they worship the golden calf, it's a black mark. That's number one. Number two, okay, so we have 1/10 of 1% of the Jewish people who worship the golden calf. What did the other 99.999% do while that was going on?
Mm.
Where were we? What did we say? We see people doing things which are improper. What can we do? Well, let's go back to the first pasuk we learned again. Lift them up. Lift them up. Help them come closer to the glory of the observance of the Torah. Help them become part of this glorious nation of the Jewish people that practices what we preach, that practices the Torah, that's loyal to it, and gives us our sense of simcha, our sense of living, that gives our soul its ultimate purpose. That's what we have to do. We have to try to lift up to the best of our ability so that we have a nation of the Jewish people that has a soul. You know, we started the Shiur with the Machzis HaShekel, with the half of a shekel. The word shekel in numerical value is 430. Shin is 300. Kuf is 100. Lamed is 30. You know what the gematria of the word nefesh is? Nun is 50. Pei is 80. That's 130. Shin is 300. 430. Now, each of us has a nefesh, but we're only machzis. We're only half. Why do we give a half shekel? Because I'm only half. I'm not whole. I'm not whole. You know who the other half is? My brother. My brother, my fellow Jew. Each of us together make a whole. Someone's missing. Chaval. It's terrible. 3,000 Jews died. Oh, wow. Only 3,000. Terrible. It's terrible. 3,000 worlds died because 3,000 worlds committed carry in a sense by worshiping idols. Worshiping idols is committing a death, because an idol is only a physical being, and if all you have in life is the physical life, I have news for you. If the only thing that's important to you is your physical well-being, if the only thing that's important to you is how much you make, how much you spend, how much you eat, how much you drink, how much you enjoy the physical world, I have news for you. There's a very empty box waiting. You might as well just jump right in, because there's nothing beyond that, according to you. It's ridiculous. There's a soul in each of us, but we're only a machzis. We're only half. The other half is the soul that we have. The soul of Shabbos, for instance. Do you know that right before the incident that talks about the golden calf, we say the paragraph of V'shamru b'nei Yisrael es HaShabbos. The Jewish people should guard the Shabbos. You know why? Because nefesh uvayom hashvi shavas vayinafash. On the seventh day, he went and made a nefesh, and the nefesh is shekel. The nefesh is the whole, and when we can have two halves of each other and help others to reach the beauty of the observance of the mitzvahs, that makes us whole. That makes a whole being, makes a whole Jew, it makes the whole Jewish people, because we recognize the nefesh. So when we talk about the golden calf, really, there were other averos in the Torah that are 10 times worse. Many, many more times worse, because 24,000 people worship Baal Peor. That's 8 times as many. We don't find people going crazy over the Baal Peor. They go crazy over the Egel, because everybody stood around and the 99.999 didn't say anything. The Gemara in Shabbos brings down on Daf Nun Hey, Kol mi sheyesh biyado limchos ve'eino moche, mala elov ki'ilu asa'o. Anyone who has the ability to protest something that is wrong. Now, you can't change people all the time. Sometimes, possibly. Very hard to change. It's hard for us to change ourselves. It's hard for us to make one inroad in our lives. It's so difficult for us to change one midah, one characteristic. Human beings are so difficult to change because we are creatures of habit. It's very difficult to change. But if someone has the ability to protest, you must protest. You don't got to yell. You don't got to make people feel bad. You have to lift them up, but you have the right to protest. This doesn't seem like we're going in the right path. there's something maybe not so right about this. Maybe we shouldn't be doing this. I can't participate in this because it's not right to do. I can't. They tell the story about the Chofetz Chaim, that there were a bunch of people standing around in the center of town, and they saw the Chofetz Chaim and said, Rabbi, join us, please. And the Chofetz Chaim said, if you're talking about horse trading, I'll come and I'll join to speak with you. But if you're talking about other human beings, count me out. Because Lashon Hara was the Chofetz Chaim's piece de resistance. It was the thing he was par excellence at. And by the way, it should be noted that the Mishnah Berurah that we read before, which has all the laws between man and God, and the Chofetz Chaim's book, which was the Chofetz Chaim on Lashon Hara, were both written by the same person. The unbelievable greatness of the Chofetz Chaim was that both of these books, the book Ben Adam LaMakom and the book Ben Adam LaChavero, were written by the same person, because we can't negate neither the man to God laws nor the man to man laws. And here we started the Shiur with the fact that we are so concerned about man to man that we won't even give someone an aliyah because it might cause some little, maybe even just a smidgen of embarrassment. And we don't want that to happen. And at the same time, we demonstrate how wrong it is to be worshiping idols and not to be keeping the Shabbos. I want to go to one more thing. It's a little late, but I want to cover one more very, very important thing, which can be found in Perek Lamed Daled. We're going to have to move ahead very quick. I want to go to Perek Lamed Daled. I'm just going to make a small comment about this. In Pasuk Chaf Vav. Okay, here it is. One of the famous, here it is, right in front of us, right here, okay? I want to just comment for a moment on this. This is the end of a section which is read not only this week, but also on Chol HaMoed Pesach. It says, Reishis Bikurei Ad Mascha, the Bikurim, the first fruits of your land, Tavi Beis Hashem Elokecha, you are to bring to the house of Hashem your God, which of course is the Beis HaMikdash. And then come the 5 words which are repeated 3 times in the Torah, once in Mishpatim, once in Sisa, and once in Parshas Re'eh, and they are the foundation of so much. Let's take a look at it. Lo sivashel gedi v'chalev imo. You may not cook a kid in its mother's milk. The Gemara in Chulin asks the obvious question, which of course comes down from Halacha Moshe Sinai, of course. Why do we need to mention it 3 times? Why does it say you can't cook a kid in its mother's milk? Number one, if you cook meat and milk together, and kid doesn't mean only the kid, it means the meat of the mother. And by the way, it uses that that's special. This is unbelievable. Listen to this. You can't cook a kid in its mother's milk. Now, the milk comes from the mother. The kid comes from the mother. When the kid was inside the mother, the milk and the kid were inside the mother together.
Mhm.
But now that they're out of the mother, you can't cook the kid in its mother's milk. Milk and meat must be separate in 3 ways. Number one, you can't cook it together. Number 2, you can't eat it together. And number 3, you can't even have benefit from a mixture of milk and meat that's been cooked. So all those who say, I don't have to keep kosher, my mother's a good cook. You know, I've heard about that before. Nothing to do with it. There's nothing that's going to be injurious when you cook something, and yet it's just as much a violation, believe it or not. It's as much a violation as eating meat and milk is cooking meat and milk. And just as much a violation of you to take a meat and milk mixture and feed it to your dog, because that's going to give you benefit, because you won't have to buy kosher dog food for him, which, by the way, does exist. Okay, because you have to keep kosher in your home. So it's unbelievable that you have these 3 statements over here. Number 1, you can't cook. Number 2, you can't eat. And number 3, you can't have benefit from meat and milk mixtures. we've had opportunity to give an entire shiur on this particular topic, and I don't have time now to give that whole shiur, but I want to mention one point or 2 points about the mixture of meat and milk that's crucial for us to understand, based on the brilliant analysis, philosophical analysis of Rav Shamshon Raphael Hirsch, the great commentator on the Torah who died in 1888. We've spoken about him before. And Rav Hirsch says as follows. Let's analyze this. The milk of the mother is a product of the emotions. You take a cow who is giving milk and start chasing it around with an electric prod, that cow's milk is going to be spoiled and it will not be giving forth milk. If you don't give the cow food to eat, they will not bear children. There is a combination. The more you feed the animal, the more meat there is on the animal. While the more calm the animal is, the contented cow, the more milk the cow will produce. When we eat, we have to separate between the needs of our physical body and the desires of our emotions. We have to separate meat and milk, because Hashem recognizes that if we gave in to our desires, there's no end to it. It's an instruction in how to live life. And therefore, the pasuk says, don't cook meat and milk. Don't eat meat and milk. Don't have benefit from meat and milk, because you have to know that there's distinction between the body and the soul. And you have to know that at times you have to separate between the two. We're the only humans on earth, the only organism on earth actually, that can deny food. You have a dog, unless you train him like Pavlov did, but if you have a dog and you throw down a piece of meat in front of him, there's no way he's not going to go after that meat. Unless, of course, you train him in some, reward punishment fashion, like Pavlov did. You got to know the human being has the ability to separate. I see this, I'd like it. It's not for me. It's not for me to eat. It's not for me to have pleasure from. I have to separate and limit my desires from my needs, my physical from my spiritual, and my emotional. All right, there's a lot more to say about this. I just wanted to mention that one point, because this Parsha is extensive. It's unbelievably rich in our observance and our philosophy of the Jewish people. And, reward and punishment is mentioned in this week's Edger, which we didn't touch today. We can't. It's just too an extensive topic for us to get to right now, but it does exist. And it's crucial to have the opportunity to read over the Parsha. All right, I'm going to just stop for a moment, and I'm going to get rid of the share, and we're going to take just a moment to speak without the share. Okay. So what I'm doing now is just asking if there's any comments or questions, and then we're going to end our shiur today. Any comments or questions? Don't all jump at once. All right. So everybody's satisfied? Okay, Baruch Hashem. And if there's anything you'd like to say at any time, or you want to speak it over privately, please feel free to call. Let me know that you're interested. You can send me an email or contact me via
video contain.
Rabbi.
Yeah.
I have a question. So it got a little bit to do with the ego, Avodah Zarah.
Okay, David.
It's brought that kol hakoyes ki'ilu oived Avodah Zarah. What is the kol hakoyes? Yeah, koyes.
Somebody gets angry.
Somebody gets angry. Correct.
It's ke'ilu. So by the way, very important to separate. It's not Avodah Zarah, but it's ke'ilu. That's important.
Yeah,
but that's an important word.
But why? Yeah, but why Avodah Zarah particular? Why not shvichas damim? Why not other critical averis?
All right.
Why avodah zarah?
I think I have an answer for you. I'll try to satisfy you with an answer. You're actually right about the fact that kas can bring about shfichas damim. You're right that it could bring about shfichas damim, but the way it brings it about is because someone lost sight of Hashem. The avodah zarah is all encompassing. What it does, and our Chazal have fleshed it out by saying, today that the kas tells you to scream or to break some object or to insult somebody,
Right.
And eventually it says it'll tell you to go worship avodah zarah, because the only way you're going to be able to satisfy that kas in some way is by doing what the kas tells you, and that's why it's called avodah zarah. And I think that's why it's said it's ke'ilu.
Ke'ilu, yeah.
Ke'ilu. Ke'ilu is very important. Ke'ilu means it's like,
Right.
Not exactly. But it works the other way too, by the way. There are many mitzvahs. If you did this mitzvah, it's as if, like I always mention it whenever we finish a masechta, I say someone who participated in the siyum, it's as if they learned the whole masechta.
Yeah.
By the way, it's only as if, not really, you didn't learn it. It's not so. Somebody who eats food that they enjoy on Shabbos, it's ke'ilu they're in Gan Eden. They're not there yet.
Me'ein olam haba.
Me'ein, right. Okay, so I think that's the answer to that question. All right.
I thought that it has to do with the fact that if somebody gets angry, it means that he feels that he has a right to get angry, which is like makes him the balabas. So, because for example, a worker in a factory, if something goes wrong, he has no right to get angry because he's not the owner; he's just a worker. And if he does get angry, then he obviously shows that he's like the boss. He's the balabas.
Okay, that's a similar analysis. I hear you.
Yes, it is.
It's a similar analysis. Right. I got you. Okay, very good. All right, anything else? Okay, Rabose, I want to wish everybody a wonderful Shabbat Shalom and Mevorach, a wonderful good Shabbos. Enjoy the beautiful Shabbos. Read over the Parsha, and daven for someone else. You have a rule. Moshe daven for the Jewish people. Hashem, listen. Let's daven for those who need our prayers.
Amen.
We should bring about only simcha for Klal Yisrael.
Amen.
Okay, have a wonderful Shabbos, everybody.
Thank you.
Yes, Hashem, tomorrow morning, the Daf Yomi, once again, is at 7 a.m. Very interesting Daf tomorrow. Some very interesting statements of Chazal on the Daf tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. on Zoom or in person in the shul. And on Tuesday night, we have the Tuesday night Yitzchak Dov Rattenstein Shiur coming towards the end of Masechta Makos. And Yetz Hashem, next Thursday night, once again, we're going to be getting together on Zoom for the Parsha Shiur. Have a great Shabbos, everybody.
You too.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you.
Good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos. Good Shabbos.
Shabbos, Shabbos.
Shabbos.